Nico is going in reverse. He's going in reverse because traditionally early morning, you're wearing a hat. It's early morning in Seattle, and Nico is not wearing a hat. Obviously, everything is locked in with the lettuce and the awakeness to where you don't need a lid at 7:39 in the morning. Dude, you are braver than I am. That's all I can say.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Not too brave because what I spent on the hair, I could have spent on having some tech issues with the lights, but they're back on. We're good. We're ready to go. Did I hear you talk Gallese, by the way? Is that what we were talking about?
That is what we were talking about because Cesar Luis Merlo announced this morning, and it is a report. It is not news from the purple team yet. But Cesar Luis Merlo was the second individual to say that Pedro Gallese will not be staying with the purple team. And there are two teams that seemingly are either interested or I forget the phraseology that might be kicking the tires on Gallese. One of them is Messi and friends, and the other might be Atlanta United. Like I said, these are reports, piecing stuff together. But Cesar Luis Merlo reported before we went on the air this morning that Gallese and the purple team are no more. So they are divorcing, and so now it is up to El Pulpo to figure out who wants to pay him a 7-figure salary like the purple team did last year. I think full salary was like $1.25 million. So Gallese apparently on the market for 2026, and he doesn't want to go home to play because of the political situation currently, and so he wants to stay in Major League Soccer if he can.
Look, I don't want to, disrespect somebody like Merlo, but I think that just about everybody knew that Gallese was not going to stay in Orlando. And let me go ahead and stop you with the 7 figures. There's no MLS team that's going to pay him 7 figures.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. Gallese is no longer a top 10 goalkeeper in MLS. He's lost more than one step, maybe 2 or 3. He's had one of his worst seasons with Orlando City. Look, he is a goalkeeper that did a lot for Orlando, and he's a goalkeeper that I've followed and respected and enjoyed in MLS. Great shot stopper, good up with his feet. But the reality is that he is not worth the million plus that salary that he currently has. You look at the rest of the goalkeepers in MLS, and there aren't many that are getting paid $1 million, and most of those have a better save rate, a better overall body of work. So yeah, look, I know that Atlanta is one of the teams that are interested in Pedro Gallese, and that's obviously I had no idea that uh, Merlo had said that, but yeah, sure, that's something that we'll be following up on. Uh, my own ends. I also know that San Jose had been thinking about a player like Pedro Gallese, that he is a guy that they had targeted in the past or looked at it. So, there are teams that are willing to bring on a goalkeeper like Pedro Gallese, but the reality is that he is not worth $1 million. Not anymore. Not when you look at the way you're supposed to build a roster in MLS with the salary caps and everything that you need to put together. It makes no sense for you to spend that much money in a goalkeeper like Pedro Gallese. And again, that's not a disrespect to him. It's just the reality of, Father Time is undefeated. And of course, you can get a goalkeeper that provides you what El Pupo gives you for a lot less. It's just the reality.
Yep. De Souza Brito, by the way, is making about 25% less than Gallese last season. 700 base, 742.5 was the guaranteed comp for De Souza Brito, who was higher in the stat lines for Major League Soccer keepers than Pedro Gallese was. So that's I had to find that number just to kind of lay out the information, compare and contrast one to the other. You mentioned the league and financials. I want to ask you about this before we get into playoffs and things. The Lionel Messi interview that he had with Tom Yamas at NBC Nightly News, where he mentions that the league could be better if, and the if was basically just open the barn doors and people can spend whatever they want and take the cap away and all of that. What did you think of his comments in that interview? And him, after he signs this new deal, he's going to be around for another 3, which is probably 2+1, just so they can get into Freedom Park, and then you go from there till he plays till he's 40. What did you think about those comments that he made in that NBC Nightly News interview?
It was not surprising. And I mean, look, Messi's looking after Messi FC and numero uno. That's all he's thinking about is me, me, me. He's not necessarily thinking about the growth of U.S. soccer. He's not thinking about necessarily the growth of the league. He's just thinking, I need to get some of these restrictions off so I can get more of my buddies down here, or people that I want to make sure that they come in and help me win a title, because I quite honestly have not been able to do it on my own. So that's the reality of it. And look, I hear a lot of people talk about how simple it is to just make the league better by just taking off the salary cap restraints. And that's not a reality. It's just, I hate people who try to simplify something that's not simple. That's a complex situation that Major League Soccer is under. And look, beyond anything that people try to stigmatize and talk about, we're just trying to keep parity and we're trying to keep the league poor and keep it mediocre. Look, man, the salary cap restraints help in so many ways when it comes to getting young players, home domestic players on the field. That's the reason why the Sounders have created this systematic, form of academy to make sure that you have sustainable talent from your own academies to feed your first team. If you don't need to, and you can just go out there and go buy a whole bunch of players, you're not being incentivized to put money and invest in your players and get U.S. talent on the field. And you're going to all of a sudden be Liga MX, where if you hear every single sportcast network, if you hear roundtables across the league, they all talk about the exact same thing. Nobody cares about Mexican domestic talent. It's all about bringing in players from abroad. This is just a money-hungry league, and that's why we have this awful new generation of players. And, you hear Tuca talk about it. You hear El Piojo talk about it. People don't realize some of the things that the salary cap does for U.S. soccer in general. And that's fine. Everybody, is entitled to their own opinion, but there are things bigger than just MLS that are being amplified, and they're being helped out by the salary cap restraints.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, I mean, look, I figured sooner or later you're going to be adding that 4th DP. I figured you're going to at some point.
Exactly.
And so, that way it's an incremental step, and it's not something where you sit there and you go, well, yeah, let's just blow the doors off the whole thing. And then those who are going to spend are going to spend, and those who aren't. And you're going to sit there and go, well, if you ain't spending, then that's your problem. When in reality, if you were to just take that 4th DP slot, just go ahead and add it, because you figured that was where Messi and friends were going anyway with their creative financing. It's like, look, just go ahead and add it. Everything will be fine. And then maybe add a little bit to the cap itself, but make sure that you add a floor as well, so you guarantee minimum spending in addition to maximum spending with that new cap when you add that 4th DP.
Absolutely, John. And that is holding on to the pillars and the things that have made a league that's 31 years old, John. 31 years old. Be looked at beyond Liga MX, that is substantially been in existence longer, that it was pronounced as a top 10 league in the rankings by FIFA, that has grown as much as it has. You have to be able to credit and value the good things about MLS and know that there's improvement to be made. And that's what you're doing. But you can't shit on the system and just act like, you know, take what you hear from certain people that have no idea, that don't follow the league, that are just thinking that the Yankees are ruining soccer with the way that they're doing their things, when in reality, a lot of the things that MLS is doing, including the MLS Next Pro and those sort of development leagues, there's all the other leagues that have not been doing it. Now they want to do it. Now it sounds like a good idea, right? Because the United States is getting so much product out broad, and they're starting to see what the value is. So don't give me none of that. Don't try to sit here and gaslight me that the way you've been doing it is just so much better because it's the old way of doing things. It's not. It's okay to improve. And I think that as long as MLS continues to hold on to what has been working, the things that have helped out both, not just the league, but the development of soccer within the youth system in the U.S. as a whole, that's what you need to do. Try to keep those things and continue to improve.
I didn't mean to get you this fired up this morning.
Yeah, man. It might be the coffee, man. It's my third cup.
Oh, it's your third cup? Wow. Okay. So now I know that when you pass 2 and you head toward 3, I know that you're going to get incredibly fired up. I mean, that's I know how this goes now. All right. Because we do need to talk playoffs. And I do want to get into what happened against Minnesota. I have never seen, it's been a while, but I have never seen so many posts being hit in any PK round post crossbars than I did in the Seattle Minnesota game at the end. Goalless draw. You figured that was what Minnesota does. That's their MO, and you knew that's what you were getting into. What are your takeaways from match day 1 in that series?
There's a lot of takeaways. So because I know that we are trying to make sure that we stay on task and on time, let me just give you the top 3. Number 1, I think that Seattle played a good game. I thought that they created opportunities. I thought that obviously you got to credit Minnesota for what they do. I'm not someone that's going to sit here and tell you that they're destroying the game, that, that sort of soccer is just not allowed. At the end of the day, it's about getting your team and giving your team the best chances to win. This is what Eric Ramsey has been doing all season. And yes, it's not aesthetically pleasing and nobody loves to see a game like this, but it works. And I think that if I was to talk to any fan and say, hey, Atlanta, if I could guarantee you that you're going to get a trophy in 2026, but you're going to be with Eric Ramsey and play Eric Ramsey ball, I think most people would be like, sign me up. I need a trophy. I don't care how it comes or where it comes from. So let's just put that in perspective. Right. I think St. Clair had a hell of a game. I thought that St. Clair was all over the field. I thought that when he came to the PKs and when he came to just the overall game, he was everywhere. But I don't think that there's a lot of stuff that Seattle needs to change necessarily. I think maybe Georgie Manungu starting in at home would be nice to see. I thought Paul Rothrock did not have his best game in this one. And I just think that Georgie Manungu's defiance on the ball, his one-on-one abilities, the way he stretches out defenses, some of his creative play in a very unorthodox Georgie type of way would, create some interesting opportunities for Jordan Morris, who didn't get a lot of opportunities necessarily in front of goal. He ended up creating some for Danny Musovski there at the end of the game. I don't love the 2-man setup with strikers. I know that they've worked on that. I know that they created some opportunities with both Jordan and Musovski on the field, but I feel like you can get that out of having a more hard to defend, down the line sort of winger like Georgie, because you're missing the Pedro factor. Georgie can give you some of those things. So I would like to see that starting off the game. And finally, the biggest question, the highest rate of conversations that have been had in the Pacific Northwest, specifically in Seattle after that game, is should have Bryant Metzer saved a substitution to bring on Andrew Thomas for the PKs.
Okay.
And that I can agree with.
Okay.
I really think that if you have a penalty kick specialist, someone that demands respect when it comes to PKs, the way Andrew Thomas does, that has been there, done that did it against, Cruz Azul, that did it against, have done it against some of the biggest challenges that this team has had. I think that you got to give him a shot. And if you're going to go out and you're going to be eliminated in the first round, you got to have all your cards on the table. You have to let it all out with your best of the best. And I think that Andrew Thomas gives you that. And as much as Stefan Fry is a phenomenal goalkeeper, and I still believe that he is the rightful starter for this team, he's just not good at PKs, and that's okay. That's all right. Shaq was the most dominant player in the NBA, but you knew he couldn't shoot a free throw to save his life. It's just part of the game. Stefan Fry is one hell of a goalkeeper, but he cannot. He's just not his forte to stop penalty kick shots. So I do believe that would have been a great strategy. I will be asking Brian about it later on today, and hopefully there's a tactic that they're willing to take on, because the Minnesota is going to play the exact same way, and they're going to want to go to PK. So you got to be ready for that.
All right, so let's take a peek at the other playoff series out west. LAFC, we talked about a little bit in hour number one. LAFC took a little while, but they got past plus 619 Austin, 2-1 on a late deflection goal. And I know that Austin was looking for an offside flag to come up, and it didn't come. So you end up with Vancouver taking care of business. You end up with LAFC needing a while before they take care of business. And then you end up with your series as well. So, you look at the rest of the West. Has anything else? We'll get into the East in a second when it comes to the activity of the home sides, but the home sides took care of business in the first go round for the most part. But you look at San Diego, they win at Portland. San Diego seems to play worse at the Murph Dragon than they do on the road. What did you think of the other three series?
Look, just to do a quick take on every single game, I thought San Diego looked vulnerable. I feel like they continue to have issues in front of goal, and Chucky Lozano cannot go back on the field quick enough. And by everything that you heard from Mikey Veras after the game, it sounds like he understands that, and he will be back on the field for that second game. So that should help out a lot when it comes to the finishing and the goal department. Vancouver, what can we say about Vancouver? Just completely destroyed Dallas. But beyond that, they're just like Mr. Randy Watson, sexual chocolate. They play so fine, won't you agree? I mean, they play so fine. They just know what to do. Everybody knows where to go. They controlled that game. They controlled the XG. It was as complete of a performance as you can have in the playoffs, and that's Dallas with all of their guys back on the field. So I just think Vancouver, and I put my bracket, by the way, on the post to come and see us right now, of course, in Soccer Down Here. I have Vancouver winning the whole thing, and every time I see Vancouver play, I just feel even better about that pick. And then Seattle, of course, it's anybody's series right now. And unfortunately, if Seattle can't break that wall at home, it's over. And if they do break that wall and they go to Minnesota, then they better be ready to understand that wall might just thicken, and they might just play everybody and the lunch lady and the kid boys in front of that goal to just stop whatever Seattle has. So I think it's that series that is more open. The other two, I feel like they're more clear and cut, where, San Diego's going to win and Vancouver's going to win.
In the East, you've got NYC going to the bank to take care of Charlotte. They did not have Will Zaha. They could not generate any offense, meaning Charlotte and Dean Smith decided that he was going to be angry at playing on a Tuesday night and bent his plane that way in their loss. And they get to go this weekend, Saturday. They're the early game in New York. Chicago and Philly. Chicago, they hung with Philly for about 70 minutes. Then you get 2 and 5 from Philly. Then they come back, meaning Chicago, 2 goals in 10, including one from Jack Elliott late. They go to PKs, and Philadelphia ends up getting the win in match number 1. Messi and friends looked like they got real mad. First time out at the Erector set. Now they can close it out at Geodis. And then the other one is Hell is Real, the postseason version. Columbus and Cincy, I think that one goes 3. What do you think of the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, those were interesting because I did have Nashville beating Miami, and Nashville just got obliterated completely by Messi and France. Um, BJ needs to do something different. BJ needs to get his team more aggressively, and you cannot miss opportunities like the ones that Schaffelberg had early in that game and just expect to beat Miami. You can also not allow Palacios to be walking next to Messi, and as soon as you get into the 18, you decide to forget who that guy is and go, I don't know, look at the birds, or I don't know if he saw his mom in the stands. I don't know what happened to Palacios, but you cannot allow Messi to just be wide open and have a flying header, John. A flying header for Messi. That's the way you want to go, Nashville. Come on, you got to step it up. You got to step up that intensity. I feel like BJ Callahan will have this team ready to go, and that'll go to 3. But right now, it doesn't look like that, John. It does not look like Nashville has enough to stop Messi and France. The Philly one, I think that's a good game, and it will be a better game because I thought Chicago could have been a lot more aggressive, and I think that they will be more aggressive at home. Cincinnati, Columbus, I don't think it goes 3, John. I really don't.
Okay.
And I know that you have the rivalry component, and I know that it was a good game, but Cincinnati had more than enough opportunities to kill this game. And I just think offensively, they're just so much better. And that was Danke's first game, full game or starting game. I feel like he's going to be even better coming up in the next game. I thought Brenner was all over the field. I think if you keep giving Evander that much space on top of the 18, he's going to hurt you at some point. He didn't in this one because I thought that the goalkeeper had a great one in this one for Columbus. But I do feel like Cincinnati is going to close it. That's just my opinion. And then the last one, Charlotte. Look, I hate to say it, but it wasn't the Tuesday night that did you, Mr. Smith. It was Saha's ridiculous, childish, selfish second yellow that put you where you are right now. And now New York, they have the momentum. They have Nico Fernandez that's playing great. Is there a more dangerous striker, like a true just striker? That's what you do. That's what you do. With the ball at his feet than Alonso Martinez? I don't think so. That goal was phenomenal. I mean, that goal, he done shook you off your socks. It was just great. The finish was even better. I just feel like New York has something going, and I think that they know what they're about. And if you can continue to feed Alonso Martinez, there's going to be a tough team to beat. So, yeah, I think that New York, I have them moving on. I feel like this one might go 3, but regardless of, I have New York going through the next round.
Because you don't need to be done shook. I mean, because if you're on defense and you get done shook, then you're in serious trouble. All right, my friend, what's going on with Sounder at Heart, Pulso Sports, and the Providence and Swedish RV Park and Campground?
That's right. Yeah, we're obviously going to have a big show tomorrow. And what we learned this week with Jeremiah O'Shan, we're going to be talking about the upcoming game here on Monday, a huge game here at home against Minnesota United. We'll talk about what we see today and what we see tomorrow. Are there going to be any change in the tactics? Do we see the lineup being any different? What are the chances of the Sounders finally breaking down the Great Wall of China that Mr. Eric Smith puts around St. Clair's goal? So all of that is going to be on Friday. Of course, on Monday, we'll have another preview of the game. We'll talk about the weekend that was with Ari Lillenwall and kickoff with Lobbins Courses, of course. And then everything that we gather around the week, we're going to have, of course, on Pulso Sports. And I should be doing either today or tomorrow some sort of open mic. I've been getting a lot of followers asking me if I'm going to do open mic there on X. So I will be doing one of those at some point today or tomorrow in the afternoon.
As always, my friend, great to see you. And it is fantastic to get you on your third cup of coffee because you get us the E rating you're sitting there and you're cussing and you're mad and you're kicking up dirt and everything going on. So I know that it's the third cup of coffee that hits you with the naughty words and things that always make it. I mean, look, we always, like, when Jarrett comes in, Jarrett is more than happy to sit there and spread naughty words and give us the E. So it's all good. It's always fun to see you, my friend. We'll be watching match days 2, and we'll catch up with you on the flip side as we head toward match days 3 in the opening round. Great to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, boss.